Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I'm here hanging out with Casper. I'm not going to stress him out too much, but, he went off feed because we're breeding. I just finished feeding all of my frozen thaweds for today, and I fed the lives a little bit earlier. I generally try to feed a little bit later, but, I know you guys saw the thumbnail, so, I have my hands over my head, my face. So why are there so many ball pythons? I think that's a really good question. Even though I love them, that is a good question that someone would ask. And this video is prompted by a comment that I read off of Steven with Leviathan Snakes. He put out a video, and a guy was just asking that question, so what's going to happen with all the ball pythons when breeders can no longer care for them and all this other stuff, as if, because I'm from Texas, as if people really care about what happens to snakes. I mean, the snake population in America is so low to where it's not even a radar on for marketing. So they know people have reptiles, so a lot of the times you'll see pet stores stocking reptile stuff, and it's great stuff. It's by Zillow, ZoomEd, you name it. But what you'll see is that they won't have the experience to deal with it like they will with dog food. Like, there's extensive training at PetSmart and Petco so that you can sell dog food, because, if they're charging $1 a pound for this premium dog food, then that's going to work. So why are there so many ball pythons? Well, first of all, when you go to shows, the perception is that that's all that people are breeding is ball pythons, because you'll see 70 to 80% of every show consists of ball pythons. Now, I know that other people are breeding other reptiles, but if we look at America and how dispersed it is, and people are breeding all over the country, not just in the South, not just in the North, or things like that. So it's easy to believe that that's all that there is, but there is a good reason. First, there's a lot of breeders that are breeding ball pythons, and then if you look at the vlogs and social media, you'll find that there's a lot of ball python vlogs. So, I can see how people could kind of say, well, I don't want to talk about ball pythons, or let me show a different type of reptile or something like that. But the truth of the matter is that, like I said before, numbers just do not lie. Numbers don't lie, guys. So right now, this is April the 27th, and I know the video will come out. This is October 27, 2023. And I know that this video will come out in November because I got it, it'll probably be scheduled at that point. But on Morph Market, there are 60,623 ball pythons worldwide being sold on Morph Market right now, today. Now, if we were to look at the other species that are popular species that other people are breeding, you would think that they would be higher, but there just aren't as many people breeding those projects because, and I'll share with you the reason why, but basically there are 1,049 bearded dragons. There are 6,919 boa constrictors. There's 2,747 hognose snakes and 6,784 crested geckos. That rounds out the top 5 of everything that's sold on Morph Market in the reptile market. And I'm choosing Morph Market because it's a great platform to get all these numbers and to compare things and genes and whatnot. Like this snake here, Casper, is a phantom clown. So we got him from BC's Balls, and he's a phantom clown. He's a breeder force. And, this is just the uniqueness of this is why there's so many ball pythons. Now, so we know how many are on the market currently, but how many have been sold? And I can tell you with a lion's share, it's like 80% ball pythons. Why? It's not because ball pythons as a reptile are no better than any other reptile. In fact, there are some cooler reptiles, but there aren't any reptiles that have the pattern changes and varieties that ball pythons have. There just aren't. And maybe there are, but there aren't enough people breeding them to even get to get them out. So there's 368,480 ball pythons that have been sold over the duration of time on Morph Market. 368,000. Come on, man. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? So when you go to a show and you know that there's 60,000 ball pythons on the market and there's been over more than 350,000 sold, then it's easy to see why, if you have to make the investment, because this is what this is, make an investment into trying to breed something for someone else to buy, that you would take the risk on ball pythons. Well, you know, so we can look at it one of two ways. There are a lot of ball pythons on the market. There are a lot of people do holdbacks and whatnot, and we're going to do it too. We'll hold back the ones that we really like, but I want specific projects, so I think everybody says the same thing. But at the end of the day, ball pythons like this will be in the hands of as many people that want them, because, and that's the beauty of it. Why are there so many ball pythons? You know, because we got this guy asked the question of, you know, what are people going to do when no one else wants them or something like that? Ball pythons have been around for a long time, and they've been being kept more and more and more since the 90s when I first got in it, and they had the albino. I mean, if you talk to Justin with Canova, you know, that albino was the key back then. I mean, you're talking about dang near $15,000, $20,000 for a snake. And then it got down to $7,000, and I was just like, oh my God, you know, it's still $7,000, but you know, this market has been around for a while, and we see new genes hitting the market because people get dinkers or they just breed out or whatever. But that's not the reason why there's so many, because the number one reason why there's so many, as Casper, is just, I mean, it's really a cool snake. But anyway, I'm gonna stay focused. The ease of care for owning a ball python, like, all you need is a heat pad, a thermostat, a little bit of humidity, some kind of substrate, and a feeding source, a way for them to conceal themselves so they're just not feeling like they're out in the open. And that's it. It's really hard to kill a ball python. So from that perspective, it's a great snake to have if you don't want to, or if you're unable to care for it properly. You can make some mistakes, and eventually you'll figure it out. As with anything else, if you stick with it, you will become more educated and you'll do more research. Another thing is that there's a high genetic pattern diversity. So what I mean by that is they're all ball pythons, but if you look at the myriad of combinations, it's just unlimited. And it's still unlimited even to this day. I mean, some 30 plus 40, 50 years after people started keeping ball pythons, that you still get new pattern morphs, and that's crazy. And I don't know if it's because we're stacking incomplete dominance or recessives, but whatever it is, it's definitely working, because now you're getting more and more ball pythons. I'm like, it's getting kind of heavy, man. I need to get back in the gym. But anyway, they do stay small. Like, this is a male, and he will stay about 3, maybe 3.5 feet during the duration of his life. Females will max out around 6 feet. A really big female, maybe 7 feet, but she's going to be older. And again, reptiles never stop growing, so they continue to grow. But once they reach their full sexual maturity and their full adulthood, they slow down a lot, which is why you got to watch how much you feed them so that they don't become obese. The question, why are there so many ball pythons? Well, they're docile in their temperament. I mean, how many other snakes do you have, or reptiles do you have, that would just calm down? Now, wait, I know it's a lot. So we're going to exclude the top 10, right? So all the way down to rosy boas, we're going to exclude them. But then when you get out of those, then you have some monitor lizards, you got some other snakes that just aren't as tame. And so when you look at those, and plus they're not so readily available, then that makes it harder for you to get an animal to begin with to put the test to and to tame it down. So, you know, those factors key into why ball pythons are in such high numbers. But statistics, and let me show you this screen. I'm gonna put it right here. All right, so I'm talking about from behind the screen. So now I got some numbers, and this is a quick chart. I'll run through it real quick. the U.S., the number of U.S. households keeping pets, and this is through April of 2023 from spots.com. 84.9 million pets are kept in America, which represents 67% of the households. Dogs represent 63.4 million of 53% of the households. Cats are around 43 million, and they're about 43% of the households. Freshwater fish are 11.5 million, which represents 10% of the households. Birds are 5.7 million, which represents 5% of the households. Reptiles are at 4.5 million, which represents 4% of the households. And saltwater fish are 1.6 million, which represents 1.3%. I couldn't just round it off to 1. I had to go ahead and tell you the exact percentage. And again, those came from spots.com. But let me tell you about the reptile ownership. So another statistic that they had was that those that own reptiles usually own more than one. So of those reptiles, the 4.5 million, that's the number of pets. The percent of households is around 4%. So some households might have, like what we do, over 30 reptiles. So that's why you don't see it so prevalent, is because people that own reptiles are more likely to own more than one. We have a bearded dragon, we got ball pythons. I'm pretty sure we'll get some more in the future. And we'll just have a little zoo. Even though we won't charge for admission, everybody that comes over, they're going to ask you what? Hey, let me hold a snake. Oh, that's a cool bearded dragon. Or, hey, let me hold a Dermaril's boar, or whatever you got. They're going to do that. So that's what we got. But the one thing that most people do is they are able to care for their animals. And that kind of is a thing that once you get more than a couple, then you start figuring out the feeding source and your ability to feed them. So for us, that's not an issue. The issue is I just don't need to buy more snakes before we breed them. I think that's what Lynn always tells me is, hey, let's hold on to what you got. There's already enough ball pythons. That's her thing too. So that's why I'm making this video as well. But if we really cared, if people really cared about what happens to animals, we'll look at dogs. So dogs represent the lion's share, 53% of the households in America. There are 1.3 million, so to speak, puppies born every year. And the ASPCA.org says that, of those, 3.1 million dogs enter into shelters every year. And of those, about 10% or 390,000 are euthanized every year. So that's way more than the number of ball pythons that are sold total on Morph Market. So if people ask questions like that, I always like to fair balance it, because everybody has a right to own a pet, and I think that a lot of people should take that a lot more seriously, and look at the long-term effects of, or your ability to care for a reptile. But, hey, those are just the numbers, guys. I love ball pythons. I love all reptiles. And that's what this channel is for. This channel is for you to get more information about your ball pythons, since that's what we're doing, and so that you can be successful. Now, please like, comment, and subscribe. But more importantly, remember, comment so that I can hear what you think. And I definitely will reply. I listen to everything that you say. But hey guys, that's all I got for you today. I'm gonna go ahead and put Casper up. And as I always say, enjoy your time with your reptiles and enjoy your family. Thank you for watching.